We've all heard of ghosts, and some of us have even encountered them in our lives. Ghostly apparitions and spirits are a common part of folklore and personal experiences. But who are these entities really? What is their purpose, and why do they linger among us? Are they evil or good? And what do they want from the living? These are questions that have intrigued humankind for centuries. In this video, we will not only answer these questions, but also explore a real-life case that suggests that disembodied life forms may indeed be near us. This is just one aspect of the limitless existence that we may not yet fully understand. Stay with us till the end, and you may find yourself thinking differently about the world of the living and the dead. Perhaps, after watching, you will never be the same again. Theories of the afterlife. Where do souls go after death? There are many theories about what happens to a person after death. Some believe in an afterlife, where the soul ascends to heaven, reincarnates, or travels to another plane of existence. Others hold that death is the end, and consciousness ceases to exist. Still, there are countless beliefs and accounts suggesting that the soul does not simply leave the physical world. Instead, it remains, wandering among the living. One of the most enduring ideas is that souls may become ghosts or spirits, trapped between worlds. Evidence of this phenomenon is scattered throughout human history, from ancient legends and religious texts to modern accounts of paranormal experiences. Ghosts appear in stories from every culture, and they are often linked to unresolved emotions or unfinished business. In some traditions, it is believed that when someone dies suddenly or violently, their soul may become restless, unable to move on until they have fulfilled some purpose or come to terms with their death. Interestingly, ghosts are not always human. Throughout history, there have been reports of animal spirits, as well as stories of inanimate objects becoming imbued with a haunting presence. This can be seen in tales of ghost ships or haunted items that seem to possess a life of their own. A well-known example is the Flying Dutchman, a legendary ghost ship that is doomed to sail the seas forever. According to the myth, the ship is visible on occasion, surrounded by a glowing haze, and when it encounters another vessel, its crew is made up of long-dead sailors. The ship cannot dock or rest, forever trapped in its voyage. Ghost towns, locations of the undead. There are also many stories of entire ghost towns, places where people once lived and worked, now abandoned, but said to be visited by the spirits of those who once inhabited them. Some ghost towns can only be visited during specific times, such as at night, on full moon nights, or under particular conditions like fog or rain. These eerie phenomena are often linked to particular events, violent deaths, tragedies, or betrayals that may have occurred in these locations. Ghosts, it turns out, are more common than we might think. While they may be difficult to spot with the naked eye, they often reveal themselves in unexpected ways. Modern technology, especially photographic equipment, has made it possible to capture images of apparitions, even when they are not visible to the human eye. Many people have reported seeing strange figures or shadows in photos, people who should not have been there, often dressed in clothing from a different time period. This raises the question, what does this mean for our understanding of life and death? Is this evidence that the world of the living and the world of the dead are more intertwined than we've been led to believe? Scientific explanation. The law of conservation of energy. How can ghosts exist as a form of life? Could they just be the product of our imaginations or the result of superstition? The answer is not as simple as we might think. One important principle to consider is the law of conservation of energy. According to this fundamental law of physics, energy cannot be destroyed, it can only change its form. This principle suggests that the energy that makes up life, whether it's the electrical impulses of the brain or the chemical reactions in our bodies, doesn't simply disappear when a person dies. Instead, it must transform into another form, and perhaps this is how ghosts come into being. Some researchers propose that ghosts are a form of energy, a vital force that lingers after death in a more subtle, ethereal manifestation. While modern science has yet to definitively prove the existence of ghosts, there is growing interest in exploring this phenomenon. Many scientists have made significant strides in studying paranormal events, but the findings are often kept private to understand how ghosts could be ghost by human. Many researchers argue that ghosts are the souls of people who could not pass into another existence and are forced to wander the earth, waiting for their time to pass into the next realm. But why would a soul remain behind? Some claim that intense emotional experiences, especially those occurring just before or after death, can bind a soul to a particular place or situation. These powerful emotions could include love, anger, fear, or regret, feelings that prevent the soul from finding peace and moving on. In fact, mediums and paranormal researchers who study ghosts claim that the energy that sustains a soul's existence is replenished by the emotions that the individual experienced during their lifetime. This is why many cultures around the world practice funeral rites and rituals. They believe that these ceremonies help calm the spirits of the deceased, offering them the chance to let go of earthly attachments and move on peacefully. The power of emotions, whether they are feelings of love or hatred, plays a crucial role in the process of a soul's continued existence on this plane of reality. For instance, strong emotional attachments can bind souls to places where they experienced significant events or where they died. Abandoned buildings, for example, are often said to have a particularly charged atmosphere, filled with the residual energy of the people who once inhabited them. The ghosts in these places may relive their final moments, trapped in an eternal loop of emotional attachment, which keeps them anchored to the world of the living. People who were filled with anger, hatred, or a desire for revenge at the time of their death may become malevolent spirits, causing harm to those who cross their path. In contrast, those who experience deep feelings of love and affection often appear as guardian spirits, protecting loved ones and offering assistance from the other side. A real-life case, the protective spirit of a mother. One striking example of this concept comes from an actual case documented by a freight train driver. One night, as the driver was operating his train, a woman appeared on the tracks, seemingly out of nowhere. She was dressed in white, visible in the headlights of the train. The driver, fearing that he would hit the woman, quickly applied the emergency brakes and rushed to the spot where she had appeared. However, when he reached the area, there was no trace of her. No body, no blood, not even footprints. At first, the driver thought he was simply imagining things due to fatigue, so he got back into the train and resumed his journey. But just a few minutes later, the same woman appeared on the tracks once again. This time, the driver was even more concerned, and when he stopped the train, he again rushed to look for the body. To his surprise, there was still no one there. He became more and more confused and frightened, unable to understand what was happening. He decided to walk around to calm his nerves and investigate further. A minute later, as the driver was walking along the tracks, he saw something that sent a chill down his spine. A young girl, bound and lying on the tracks. She was very real, frozen in fear. It turned out that the girl had been abandoned on the tracks by her stepmother, who had been trying to rid herself of the child. However, this terrible plan would have ended in a tragedy if not for the strange visions the driver had experienced earlier. When the driver reported the incident, the girl's mother recognized her from the description of the ghostly apparition. It turned out that even after death, the mother's spirit had continued to protect her daughter from harm. This case raises profound questions about the nature of the spirit world. Could it be that some spirits remain tied to this world because of their deep love for the people they left behind? It seems that this mother, even in death, was watching over her child, protecting her from harm. The interconnectedness of the living and the dead. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, most people have an intuitive sense that there is something beyond the physical world. We may not always recognize it, and we may even fear it. But deep down, there is a part of us that knows that the world of the living and the world of the dead are more interconnected than we realize. It's a difficult truth to confront, but it is one that has been witnessed and recorded throughout history. We may be afraid of the unknown, but that fear often stems from not understanding what lies beyond. The stories of ghosts and spirits are not just tales of terror. They are reminders that our actions in life have consequences that may echo long after we're gone. An act will not go unpunished, and good will eventually be rewarded, even if it takes time. The idea that our actions, whether good or bad, affect the world beyond our death is an essential part of many cultural and spiritual traditions. So remember that the energy we leave behind, the emotions we nurture, and the bonds we form can last far longer than we may ever realize. Have you encountered a ghost? Have you ever had a ghostly encounter? Maybe you've experienced something unexplained, a strange feeling of being watched, or witnessed a fleeting figure in the corner of your vision. Perhaps you've heard footsteps when no one is there, or seen someone appear in a photo who shouldn't be in it. What did it mean? Did the ghost want to help, or was it trying to harm? The stories of those who have encountered the supernatural are as varied as the people who tell them. But one thing is certain: whether we believe in them or not, ghosts seem to have a presence in our world. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I hope it has provided you with insights into the world of the living and the dead. So please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to me. If you're interested in learning more about life after death and the mysteries of the supernatural, I recommend you check out my other videos. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.